We spend so much of life waiting for approval. But what if real strength begins the moment we trust ourselves? When we stop seeking validation and start showing up from our own inner clarity. Welcome to Soul Time, a show that explores the world of unlocking your unique potential. My name is Dr. Katja Makowka and I'm a teacher at school, a former teacher at universities, and a stress and mental coach. And I'm your host. We often assume that trust is something we get from others. We wait for approval, we wait for recognition and reassurance or validation to feel confident, to feel grounded, calm, to feel like we are enough. But real confidence, resilience, and clarity don't begin with others. They begin with trusting ourselves. And self-trust is about knowing we can make choices rooted in our values rather than fear of judgment. It's about being able to navigate life with integrity, even when no one is watching, even when it feels uncomfortable. When we model this for the younger generation around us, children notice. They begin to internalize something really profound. I can rely on myself. My choices matter and I am enough. So let's pause for a moment and reflect. Where do we tend to wait for external validation before trusting ourselves? And where do we look to others for permission to act instead of trusting our own inner compass? Trust isn't built in one grand defining moment. It grows slowly, day by day, through the small, consistent choices we make and following through on what we say we will do, even when it's inconvenient. Choosing honesty, even when it feels uncomfortable. And pausing before reacting instead of responding from fear or habit. Protecting our energy and our boundaries so that we can show up fully where it matters most. And every small act like this quietly signals not only to ourselves but to everyone around us, I can count on me. And each day we have the chance to make choices that reinforce that kind of trust. To notice which moments allow us to stand in our own integrity and follow through on what we believe is right. And many of us grew up with the quiet message that our worth is earned by approval. High grades, compliments, achievements. These became signals that we were enough, at least temporarily. And when we rely on others to validate us, our decisions often become reactionary rather than value based. But the truth is, real self trust frees us from the constant pull of people pleasing and overextending. It frees us from pressure. And here is another layer. We don't have to explain ourselves to people who have already formed their opinions about us. Their view isn't our responsibility. Our worth doesn't shift based on what they think. And trying to prove ourselves to everyone only creates tension, distraction, and fatigue. And when we live from this quiet inner strength, children notice. They see that our actions and our values matter, even if others misunderstand. And they begin to learn that integrity and self-respect matter far more than approval, that our choices can be guided by what we know to be right, not by the fleeting opinions of others. And when we reflect on this, we might ask ourselves, where are we compromising our choices to gain approval? Trusting ourselves often requires courage. It's not always comfortable to speak up or to set boundaries or to act with kindness when others are unkind. Courage doesn't mean that fear disappears. Courage is showing up anyway and acting aligned with our values, even when it's uncomfortable or challenging. And children watch this courage closely. They see that strength isn't about domination or winning at someone else's expense. It's about presence, integrity, and the steady calm of knowing who we are. And here is an important point about our relationships with others. Sometimes, when we meet someone new or try to build a friendship, we hear ourselves saying, I've been hurt before, so I can't trust that person. And that might feel protective at first, but it also carries a subtle message. We are letting the past dictate the present. And the truth is, the person in front of us is not the one who hurt us before. And each new relationship deserves a chance. But that chance is built on the foundation of our own self trust, not on depending on others to make us feel safe or validated. Waiting for others to prove themselves or give us trust is a form of victim mindset. It's relying on what we cannot control rather than taking responsibility for what we can. And showing up with integrity, honoring our values, and setting healthy boundaries, and trusting ourselves to respond wisely. That is key. When we do this, we model resilience, we model clarity, and we model courage for the younger people around us. And they learn that it's possible to engage authentically even after past hurts, and that our choices, not just our experiences, shape the relationships we build. The impact of self-trust doesn't stop with us. When we trust ourselves, we model a framework for others, our children, our students, our peers. They begin to understand that confidence is rooted in self-respect, not in external approval. And they notice that decisions can be guided by values rather than fear, and that mistakes are not failures but part of learning. And trust starts with us. Every choice we make, every moment we show up authentically strengthens the inner compass that guides our lives. And children notice not just our words, but our presence, our reactions, and how we navigate challenges and obstacles. And as we pause for a moment of reflection today, let's consider, where are we choosing self-trust over fear of judgment? Where could we act from our values rather than expectations? When we trust ourselves, we show the next generation how to do the same. We give them permission to stand in their own integrity, to act from courage, from clarity, and to understand that their worth is not something to earn, but something that exists simply because they are. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Soul Time. I'm very grateful because you have given me the greatest treasure of your life, your time. If you enjoyed this episode, click the subscribe button so that you get a notification every time a new episode is out.